Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. How are you guys? How are you doing? How's the month going by for you? I am back with some of my fall recommendations for you guys. So this video is going to have some of the books that I am really looking forward to read in the month of fall. Although there is no fall in India, there's just summer and then winter. But I love the concept, I love the idea of fall, and it's a true reading month. So I just wholeheartedly participate in the whole fiasco. I have a whole bunch of books here that I want to recommend and also tell you which ones out of these are on my TBR and talk about these. It's a mix of fantasy, thrillers, dark academia, magical realism sort of books. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. Let's get started. The first book that I want to start with is my current read. It's Katabasis by R F Kuang, and I am currently reading this book. I am not very far. I am only like on chapter 3 actually. This is going really slow, but I do not mind. I love R F Kuang's writing and I want to fully immerse myself into this world. This is her latest release. This came out in the month of September only. This book, we have our two main characters, Alice and Peter, both of whom study at Cambridge. They both study analytical magic, and their professor, whose name is, what was his name? I don't know. Now they are done with their graduation, but they do have to get their professor's dissertation on their academic paper. But unfortunately, their professor dies and gets sent to hell. Now Alice and Peter both decide to travel across hell and get their professor's soul back to earth so that they can get their dissertation for their paper. That's the premise of this book. There's also romance in this, I believe, which is between Alice and Peter. Of course, they're both academic rivals, so I don't know how much of romance do we get or what sort of a romance it is. But yeah, so far I'm really enjoying this book. The writing style is very immersive. Like I said, there are a lot of concepts in this book which I personally do not understand, and I don't think that it's important to understand each and every concept in the book, because if that were the case, it's gonna take months to finish it. So yeah, my first recommendation is Katabasis. My next recommendation is Inferno by Dan Brown. This is the newly reprinted edition by Penguin. I read this book last month, and just look at the amount of annotations that are there in this book. This is so well done. I have read a lot of books by Dan Brown, The Lost Symbol, The Da Vinci Code, and I believe Origin. Off the bat, I want to recommend this. This is a thick book, but you're gonna eat this up. I ate it up. So if you know a little bit about Dan Brown's book, we have Robert Langdon as the main character, who is a professor of symbology, I believe. So basically in this book, Robert Langdon, our main character, is racing against time to stop this virus from spreading. And again, this is full of information, full of history, full of analysis, and so much symbology and just raw history. I loved it. This is so fast paced, like page after page after page, there is something or the other happening. Beautiful storytelling. I don't know how people who do this and in this book we travel across Florence, Italy, and then we go to Venice and also then to Istanbul. So major part of the book is set in Florence. It felt like I was there in Florence. That's how beautifully this is written. So yeah, this is my second recommendation. Third book is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I have not read this book. This has been on my TBR since years and years. I think I got this book in 2021 or 2022. I don't know. After I finished reading Six of Crows, I was obsessed with Leigh Bardugo and I wanted to read every single book that she had written. But unfortunately, I never got around to reading this one. Now, this screams dark academia and fall. As far as I know, this book is about a secret society. Our main character, Alex, is assigned to supervise the secret societies of Yale. And then there's a dead girl on the campus, and Alex is the only person who's willing to look deeper. So these secret societies, they tamper with forbidden magic and they raise the dead. And sometimes they prey on the living. Okay, this is very intense. I did not imagine it to be this intense. I also know there's our main male character who's named Darkling? No, not Darkling, definitely. Wait, let me check. Darlington. Darlington, yes, that's the male main character. What is that name? I have tried reading this. I have read a couple of pages and I'm not able to ever get past 10 pages. The first 10 pages, for some reason, it's very complicated, but I have been told that if you get past the first 50-ish pages, the book is very, very interesting and you're going to be hooked. So I'm going to give this a second try again this fall. Next recommendation is They Never Learn by Layne Fargo. Now, I read this book last month, I think. This is also really, really interesting. Perfect for fall, I would say, because in this book we have our first main character who is a professor again at a university, and she's also a serial killer by the night. What's her name? Wait. Why do I keep forgetting names? Scarlett, our professor, who's also a serial killer. That's not a spoiler, by the way. So she is a serial killer and she goes on to killing people. She kills only men, which is great, I mean. And she kills only the men that she thinks deserve it. So it's like this whole female vigilante situation going on. She's killing predative men who prey on girls on campus, which, you know, puts you into mind about, is she really wrong? We also have our second main character, which is Carly. Now she's a young girl who's had a traumatic past and she comes from a problematic household. She just wants to change her life. She's recently moved to this university for studies and she is trying to figure herself out and just trying to get to know herself. Also, this book is about queer romance. Carly is also trying to figure out her queer identity, her sexuality, all of those things, and that angle is very interesting as well. So this is my next recommendation. My next recommendation is a series, and it is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. It's a duology. There's two books. The second book is Two Twisted Crowns. This screams fall, okay? This screams fall. I have only read the first part. The second part I saved to read in the, you know, colder months, because I mean, firstly, to look at the cover, you will know what's going on here. I have read such a fresh take on fantasy after a really, really long time. I talked about this, I think, in one of my videos previously also, but yeah, I can tell you what happens in the first book. So decades ago, there was a fever that spread in the kingdom, and that fever gave magical powers to few of the people, and those magical powers are dangerous. All the people that had this magical power were executed, and also Elspeth also had that fever and got magical powers. Nobody knows what her magical power is, and her parents also hid her from the king, so she's never been caught. But for how long? She has this voice in her head, the nightmare as she calls him. He talks to her and like slowly and slowly he's taking control over her. I don't think I'm going to tell you about the male main character. You need to figure that out because that is kind of like the spoiler of it. This ended on a cliffhanger and I don't know how am I stopping myself from reading the second part, because so there are these 12 magical cards, and whoever owns those cards has the magical power of that card. You get it? Like, there's a card for speed, there's a card for mind reading, there's a card for invisibility, so on and so forth. So we have 12 magical cards, and that aspect is also very, very interesting. I really enjoyed this fantasy. I really like the writing style. It is not difficult to get into. In fact, it's very, very easy if you're a beginner in fantasy. And also, there's only 2 books, so that's a win-win. Can't wait to read this one. The next book on my TBR is The Secret History by Donna Tart. I have had this book for a while now, 3-4 years easily. This is the it book of fall of dark academia. I'm sure you've heard about this book. I'm sure some of you must have read it also. I don't know why I have not read it. These are the kind of books that I really, really enjoy, but I don't know. I mean, I have never even tried reading it, to be honest. It's again, I am intimidated by the size. It's a thick book. I think it's, yeah, more than 600 pages, but we're gonna deal with this fall. I'm gonna read the blurb of it. Under the influence of their charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at an elite New England college discover a way of thinking and living that is a world away from the humdrum existence of their contemporaries. But when they go beyond the boundaries of normal morality, their lives are changed profoundly and forever. Okay, the blurb also does not tell much, but there's a bunch of students, there's a professor who teaches them some way of living which is obviously not normal, not humanly. Yeah, something's going on here. Excited to read this. Maybe I'll start this on audiobook. Let's see. My next recommendation is Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Now, I read this book I think 4 years ago and it's still one of my favorite books. I saw Clockwork Reader, I think that's the name, right? I saw Clockwork Reader talk about this book and she's obsessed with it, and I thought, okay, what is it? I need to read it, and I read it and now I'm obsessed as well. It's a fantasy romance, kinda, I think. So basically this book is about a circus that appears randomly once a year and few people go and take part in it. There's deadly competitions that are taking place in that circus, and our main character Celia is our female main character. She goes and takes part in it, and the whole competition sort of turns into this deadly high stakes battle that she has to fight with. Okay, I draw the line there. Again, this book is so atmospheric, so immersive. The circus is so beautiful. The way Erin Morgenstern has written this book, you can visualize the whole circus in your head as you're reading the book. It's the best feeling, and the romance is so good. The fights are so good. All the competitions I really enjoyed. Please read this book if you haven't already. Next book on my TBR is Blood Over Bright Haven. I got this book recently. I have heard some really good things about this book. But from what I know about this book, we have our main character, female main character, who is studying magic, and she has devoted her whole life to studying magic. But apparently she was not good at it, and she goes to this university to study magic, and you have to be paired with somebody, and instead of a lab assistant she gets paired to a janitor. But that janitor has not always been a janitor. He is our, I think, male main character, Thomil. Thomil is a hunter. Yeah, so Thomil was a nomadic hunter, and Thomil and his family members were forcefully driven away from their homeland by this supernatural force that nobody knows what it is. But now that he has our FMC, whose name is Siona and Thomil are gonna partner up and figure out what this supernatural force is that is so dangerous, and they are going to uncover this ancient secret. So yeah, this is on my TBR as well. And yeah, I think we are done with all the book recommendations. Okay, so we have about 4 books on my TBR for fall. I'm going to be reading these books across the month of October and November. That feels like the most fall. It's the transition month from summer to winter here in India. And yeah, I will be reading these 4 books along with other books, of course. And the ones that I have recommended to you guys are these books. So we have 5 books. Inferno by Dan Brown, They Never Learn by Layne, Fargo, Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, and Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. So yeah, with that we have come to the end of the video. I hope you all liked the video. Tell me some of your favorite fall books that you have read or are planning to read in the month of fall. Tell me, is there any fall at all where you live? And I hope you enjoyed this video. Follow me on Instagram if you don't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.